So, a little bit about me. My name's Ali Parks, also known as Ali P or Ali P Art. And my background is really, I as a mature student, I did a degree in design for visual communications, which was graphic design. So I've got a background in graphic design, and previous to that, like I'm 53, so back in the late 80s, I did a foundation course in art. And then I went on and I did a degree in media studies, which wasn't really what I wanted to do. And then after that, I went and I was living in Holland for a lot of years on and off. And that was really when, the rave scene hit. And that just completely, I was just living that lifestyle at the time. It was just like squat parties and music, techno. I was completely obsessed by that for a lot of years. It was brilliant. But it kind of took me away from, I suppose, a career path, which is fine. It's never too late to do these things, the things that you want. So anyway, I came back and I did the graphic design degree, but it wasn't really what I wanted to do, because I found I worked in a graphic design studio and I found it really creatively stifling, really, a bit corporate. And so after that, and a number of years after that, I'm working in several different jobs, a lot of them were admin jobs. I decided to go self-employed. That was in 2016. I decided to go self-employed as an artist. And so what do? I do lots of different stuff. I could be doing a logo for someone. I could be designing a leaflet for someone. But I also paint. I do painting commissions. I sell my paintings. I sell prints of my paintings. But I also, design. I put my designs onto bags and cushions, that kind of thing as well. I love surface pattern design. I love working with products. And I sell online, but I'll do market stalls as well. And that's where, I'll be selling my cushions and my bags and my artwork and prints, that kind of thing. I've done quite a few illustration courses over the last, after leaving my job. I got stuck in and did a lot of illustration courses. I did ones for kids' book illustration. And last year I got commissioned to do a children's book, which was called Sweet Dreams. And it's like a kids' relaxation book. It's got like yoga techniques, and it's about this little boy that can't get to sleep at night. And he goes on all these adventures with his teddy. And, so that was great to do that. So, I do illustration work as well. I just find that as a creative person, I want to do loads of different things. I don't want to just be niche in what I do, because I would be bored doing that. There'll be one day maybe I'm working on my iPad. I'll be maybe doing like an illustration or something like that. And then the next day, I'll maybe be hand painting, because I love working traditionally by hand as well. At the minute I'm actually working, I'm looking at it at the minute, working on a big mural, which is going to go on to the side of a kids' primary school. I got commissioned to do this. And luckily, they brought me the board at some like marine plywood, and they brought it to my house. There's actually two of them. I'm on the first one at the minute, and I can do it at home. I can do it in my studio here, which is, I just feel so lucky to be able to do that, because I certainly wouldn't want to be outside working in the weather the way it is at the minute. And it's just so much nicer in my cozy art studio. So I'm really happy to be working on that, and that should be finished, I suppose, in a few weeks' time. I have to get the other big one done as well. There's two. They're like 2.5 meters by 1.5 meters each of them. So, and I'm hand painting it. I don't do spray paints. I'm working with a paintbrush and acrylic paints. So yeah, it's taking a while, but I'm loving doing it. So yeah, I do loads of different stuff. And I suppose the whole ethos behind my work is I really want to lift the viewer. I want to put positivity into my creations. Sometimes I'll maybe hear a quotation or something positive and I'll think, oh my gosh, I really want to put that into a piece of art. So sometimes I like to get those, I like to get messages. I put text in my illustrations sometimes, and, it'll always be something positive. I just feel like there's enough negativity in the world. And, if I can bring a little bit of, something uplifting to somebody, then I feel like a sense of purpose. And I suppose I do that through my use of colour as well, not just like putting like actual messages in. I the colours I use, and I suppose my style is quite bold and striking and graphic, I suppose. One of your questions was, what's the best reaction someone has had to your artwork? And I'll never forget one time I was at a big market and selling my work, and this little girl, I had an original painting on an easel, and this little girl, she was only about 7 or 8. She was standing in front of it and she was looking at it for ages, and she said to me, I love this painting. And I said to her, well, why do you love it? What is it about it that you love? And she said, it makes me happy inside my heart. And like, I could have started crying right at that moment, because it was just such a beautiful reaction. And it was just, I'll never forget it. Like, so that is, that is the kind of, that's the best reaction. I've had people tell me that my work calms them down when they're feeling anxious. I love that as well. But like, mostly people say that my work makes them smile or it makes them happy, because I have asked that question before, on social media, let me know what it is about my work, how does it make you feel? And that comes up all the time. It makes people smile. And to me, that's job done. That is, that gives me my sense of fulfillment that, I've given someone a lift. I think everybody has their own path. I mean, I wouldn't diss somebody that does something completely different than that, but this is just what I do, this is my path. This is what I feel like I'm compelled to create things that I want people to look at and get a lift or feel happy. And colour is massive in my work, because I feel, to me, like every colour has a different vibration, and, I think putting certain colours together in a certain way can really be euphoric, I feel it's almost like music, you can get that real uplifted, euphoric feel from certain colours and patterns as well. I absolutely love patterns and creating patterns and looking at patterns, and you'll see a lot of that in my work. I'm really influenced by like decorative arts, through the ages, that kind of thing. People like William Morris. I just love patterns and decorative elements in my work. And I love looking at that in other people as well. And so my influences would be a lot of my illustrator peers, really, artists and illustrators. I love kids' books. There's an illustrator called Carson Ellis, and her work is just it's stunning. She uses a really beautiful muted palette. I love her work. There's another illustrator, Sarah Walsh. So there's so many that I follow on Instagram, and they would be big inspirations. But my biggest inspiration is nature. I live here in Northern Ireland, and there's so much beautiful scenery here. There's beautiful parks. I love birds. I love flowers. There's nothing I love more than just going for a walk by myself in nature, and just looking at birds, looking at trees, looking at leaves. I mean, I can spend I could just stand and stare at like leaves and trees, totally immersed. Um, I could do that for a long time. I like being in nature when I'm on my own, when there's nobody about as well, because then you don't feel like as much of a weirdo when you're doing that kind of thing. So yeah, I just like all the little tiny details in like petals and flowers, or even like a tiny leaf. I just get totally into that. I love it. I love it. It lifts me. It gives me hope. I don't know what it is like, but sometimes I can just look at a tree and know that everything's okay. And everything's going to be okay. I know that sounds a bit weird, but that is how I feel. And I feel that we are all connected with nature. We're part of nature. Nature is part of us. We are all kind of intertwined, and there's a deep kind of profound connection between us all. I think everybody is connected to everything, and I mean, you only need to look at an eye and then look at, stars or nebulous, and you can see that things are exactly the same in nature as they are in the human body. There's hundreds of instances of that. But, that's kind of visually showing you, but I feel it, I feel it in like an inner knowing, this connection that we have. And I kind of feel like when people start really understanding that and getting that, then they'll stop being so harsh, and, there'll not be as much strife, because it's like, when you are, it's like we're all branches of the same tree kind of thing. If you are being nasty to someone, you're really being nasty to yourself. And a lot of it is like a reflection of how you feel about yourself. So, so that connection gives me a lot of comfort. And I suppose it's probably why I feel so happy when I am in nature. So that would be like one of my biggest influences. So, what is the biggest challenge of being an artist? I suppose dealing with getting myself out there, promotion, that kind of thing. I just really want to concentrate on being creative and creating. And I find that, having to make reels and deal with algorithms and all that kind of stuff, I really don't enjoy that. I really don't feel that comfortable promoting myself either. It is kind of part and parcel of being an artist, but if I can get somebody else to do it for me, that's really my aim. I've got an exhibition coming up in August in Ballynahinch, in the workshop in Ballynahinch. And then I think it's going to be in Arts for All in September. But what I'm hoping is when I have that body of work there, which is all going to be hand painted, it's all like birds and, patterns, which I'm absolutely loving doing. Birds like herons and crows and swallows, my favourite birds. They're very decorative paintings. But I'm hoping then I can, maybe approach some galleries, because I would like to just basically get somebody else to sell my work for me. I do have some stuff in shops, and that's great, but I'd like to get myself out there a little bit more. I have toyed with the idea of getting an art agent as well, for illustration work, and that's something I am still considering. But I'm constantly, building up my portfolio. And yeah, when I'm at a point when I feel like I'm ready, I might reach out. So that I feel is a challenge about being an artist, being seen, getting your stuff in front of the right people. Sometimes you just get a lucky break. But yeah, I'm just I'm just working hard towards, I suppose, building my profile, and I'm seeing momentum now, which is great. I'm really happy. And self-belief, that's another one. Self-doubt, self-belief, that's another, imposter syndrome. A lot of us creatives have that. And, I have days when I'm just so pumped and think, yeah, like I've got this. And then other days when you just think, oh, it's usually relates to what I'm working on. Like, I could create something beautiful and, it could be really well received. And then the next day, if I'm doing something that I don't like, that will put me just on a downer. And that's just for me to kind of deal with those moments and just realize, look, try and remember all the great stuff that you've done before this. And it's okay to make work that you don't, that isn't as successful or that you don't like or that's maybe just bad art, and kind of give yourself permission to be okay with that, because I do have big perfectionist tendencies, and I'm really kind of working on that at the minute to give myself a break, really give myself a break. And so, yeah, that's like, I'm doing well with that. Like I am kind of, I'm doing well with that. And so self-doubt, and I'm sure a lot of creatives would say that self-doubt can be crippling at times. But I usually just give myself a pep talk and try and move on from it.